Good morning. Isn't that a beautiful sight, Buzz?
So, baby, take a bow.
Some Rust-Oleum paint I bought at the thrift store, and the problem is, I painted this yesterday afternoon, and it's still tacky. It's Rust-Oleum, so I don't know. I guess paint don't dry after it's, who knows how old it is. But anyways, I've had paint like that years ago, where it took a week to dry. It's oil base. But anyways, I had to show you that. This is for Buzz 1151. All right. I want to thank. He's the master, I believe, Steve, who gave me a link to Nostalgia, and I got the correct schematic, and it's fairly readable. And also Ron C. in Florida emailed me one, a Beatman's schematic, which is very clear and easy to see. I don't have any service information on it, just the schematics, but I want to thank those guys for doing it. Apparently, it's a Model X8. I had zero luck trying to find it on the Continental Radio Model X8. Absolutely zero luck. But that's nothing new. I have no luck. So unless somebody gives me a link, I'm not able to find it. Anyways, what I did do was put some heat shrink down here so that it tucked in here so that the speaker wires will not hit the chassis. There is no way I can get this off to tighten that screw in the middle. The tuning condenser don't turn, but that this doesn't come off. Now the only way it could come off, and I'm not going to do that, is see these little tabs right here? This is glass. Now if this glass was broken, I'd have nothing to lose, because once you pull them back to get the glass out, so you can get a screwdriver in there, I can't imagine that that's how you do it. No way. You'd break these off trying to close it down again. Then I'd have to glue it or silicone it. It would look like hell. I won't touch something like this and ruin it. I'd rather have it sit on the shelf and be a shelf queen. And that's probably what it's going to be. On the oscillator coil, it was pointed out by one of my viewers. I hate to use a screwdriver and risk digging it up. I'll use my finger. Under a lot of magnification, there was a turn and a half that was just hanging loose. So I brought it up to the top one. I didn't know whether it came off the bottom or the top. It looked like it came off the top. Put it on there and held it down and put Duco cement on it. So now it's all formed up nice. And then I put a little piece of white masking tape down in the middle here. It's focusing on this here, so may not be able to get a good clear look at that. Let me see if I can zoom in. That. So I didn't check the continuity or anything like that yet. I didn't go into that. It's a two-bander. Andrew from the UK asked me about that. Yes, it's a two-bander. He also sent me a link, but it's not too clear of a schematic. But the best one was from Ron C., and it's in the Beatman book, but it's only a schematic. That's all it is. So there is no service data on this. Unless you give me an actual link There's no way I'm going to be able to find it. But that's all right, because if I can't fix this, I'm not going to proceed with it. You know, I have no idea what this tape is supposed to be, but it was taped down here. So, I have no idea, but going in here, you probably can't see that. But down in here, there's one or two screws that hold this bracket here onto the front of the tuning condenser. And there's no way you're going to get a screwdriver in there unless you pull these tabs, which you'll never get back in. You'll break them off for sure. Take the glass out, unscrew the dial and take that out, and then get behind this thing. Somehow I don't think that's how that would come out, because it looks like it's a solid piece of plastic all the way down, so you're not going to get a screwdriver from here into the back of here to take this out. So I have no idea, because there's absolutely no service information on this radio. And I think I showed enough of it to give you an idea on that video I made yesterday. So, this is quite sticky. Dry up here. Sticky up in here, where there's a little heavier coat. I brushed it on, masked this all off. It's what I used to do years ago when the transformer was a little rusty. And I managed to get the paint on all sides. That is a thing of beauty there, Buzz. If he was there, he'd have all this bright red here. No, I'm sorry, Buzz. I love your videos. You do great work. But I don't like red. It doesn't belong on a vintage radio. Well, anyways, I got the tubes in from Bob Dubush, so I'll be able to finish up on these radios. I got to do an alignment on this, and that will be in part 2, which is on the other JVC camera right here, because I keep them separate. So part 2, part of it is on here, and I'll finish it out. There won't be any painting on the cabinets in part 2. That will be just a separate video when I get the money to get the paint. And so many things I gotta do. Beforehand. So, anyways, all right. So, no idea how this comes out. I'm sure that if I take out enough components under the chassis that I can remove the capacitor, but the whole thing is going to come out as one piece. And still going to have a dilemma trying to get this out. Maybe an angled screwdriver. But that's no good. You can't even get that in there. And this plate is screwed to this. I have never seen a setup like that. No idea if the coil's any good, but you can see that I've got Duco cement on it that held it nicely. The wires were not broken. They just became unraveled, and it looked like a turn and a half came off the top one here. Because I can see there's a little area where wire might have come out. And then it connects down into the lower coils here. So now it's all secure, and that should be good. No idea if it's open or not. because I'm not going to attempt to do anything on this until I can get this fixed. So this may just go back into the cabinet. Matter of fact, it's got to go back into the cabinet. I left it out on the bench to let this dry a little bit. I painted this yesterday afternoon. When I made that video, it was probably early afternoon, maybe 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock. And I was still getting paint on my hands 4 hours later. Normally, Rust-Oleum oil-based paint usually is totally dry in about 4 hours. I got this at the thrift store for $1. It was almost full, if not totally full. This is still sticky right here. My thumb is. Now, I've used Rust-Oleum paint plenty of times. And I've also had oil-based paint that was frozen for several winters in the shed. Oil-based doesn't get damaged when it is frozen. So even if this was frozen, it would still dry. I've got plenty of cans of different colors, small cans like this. And it's been frozen over the years, even spray paint, oil-based. Never had a problem with it drying, but this doesn't want to. It's very sticky, so I can't do anything with that radio until it's totally dry. So I just hope it don't take 3 weeks or more to dry. So, as you can see, I cleaned it up as best I can. I'll be working on other things, but I don't want to handle this too much here because you have to really grab it by the power transformer to pick it up to get it into the cabinet or onto the bench even. But the biggest dilemma is this. I have no idea what I got to do to this. I know I got to fix the pilot light because the little tab broke off of this. That's not a problem at all. It slides onto here. But it is screwed onto here. You can see the bracket. There's no way to get a screwdriver in there. So that's it. Okay. I just want to thank all my viewers that chimed in and tried to help me. Especially the ones that give me a direct link to it, because then that makes it much simpler for me, because I have zero luck doing a search on the internet. I don't care what it is, almost never can come out. I tried a Silvertone model 1957, and what I came up with is a plastic radio made in 1957, and it was called a model 1957. So that's what my luck is, you know. So unless you give me a direct link to the schematic or the service information or whatever I'm looking for, I'm not going to be able to find it. That's it. So I want to thank you all, and I'll figure I'd do it this way in case I missed anybody, and if I did, I apologize. That concludes it. So once this is dry, we're going to put this back in the cabinet, which is on the floor right now, and then we got to go on to this, and we're going to be working on part 2 of the Motorola 5.2 M2U radio, now that we got the tubes. And I need to test the tubes like I always do. Because you never know. So that's what I always do. I have not tested the tubes in here yet. I'm not ready to service it yet anyways. Unless I can get this fixed. If I can't get this fixed here, this dial, and I'm not removing the glass, there's no way. I will destroy it, and I will not do that. I'd rather have it put back in the cabinet. It'll have to stay in the shed, in the shop here rather. I'll cover it up and put it under the bench there. and it's too heavy to ship. It would cost probably $100 or more to ship at today's prices. So I really wouldn't want to get rid of it, but it's something I think about in the future, because I'll only destroy it trying to get this out. Not so much the capacitor here, because I can remove stuff underneath the chassis, which means I'd have to recap it all up underneath. And if I can get at the bolts, fine, but I will not be able to connect the wires back up underneath here again, so therefore you got a non-working radio. So, all right, enough chatter. I figured I'd use on my JVC. This is the second JVC, as I said. I got the one over here. This is the Model 100. Let's see, what is this? This is the one I normally use right here. This is the one I normally use. I can't even read that. Okay. And this one here is a Model 30. Don't ask me the letters. I never can remember those things. Okay, enough chattering. I want to thank everybody for trying to help me out on this and identifying the radio. So at least we got a schematic.